Schofberg, and welcome to the world of Grand Seiko. Today, we will discuss the usage, care, and maintenance of your Grand Seiko SBGA375. Now, this is an automatic winding timepiece by means of case-back winding mass. It uses the energy of your wrist, the kinetic action, to wind the mainspring. However, should the watch run down, as seen here, you may wish to manually wind the timepiece, and you do this by taking the crown from its locked position. You thread it outward until you feel it pop in spring-loaded fashion out of its stem tube assembly. Now in this first position, we wind the watch and we turn it anywhere from 3 to 4 dozen turns. Sometimes it will jump into action with alacrity, sometimes it will require a few dozen turns. But in general, you can always use the power reserve indicator on the dial as a guide to its relative state of charge. And this charge pertains solely to the mainspring's energy, as there are no batteries or capacitors in this spring drive movement. Now, if you wish to wind the watch fully, it will have approximately a 3-day power reserve when fully energized, or about 72 hours. You watch and you track that power reserve indicator until it reaches the end of its travel. If you want to be double certain that the watch is fully energized, track that power reserve indicator to the end of its travel and then wind a few extra times. This poses no danger to the watch because the bridle style mainspring means you cannot accidentally overwind the watch. It slips by design to relieve any excess stress or strain. Now the timepiece does have a couple of subsidiary setting modes. What I always like to do when setting the watch is pull the crown out 2 detents to a stop. So you pull it out to a stop and then you roll it through the date change. So you start the setting process by taking your bearing and determining whether you're looking at AM or PM. So for example, now we're looking at PM, but what I always like to do is roll through one date change just to be sure and then set the time. So the roll through the date change will perform 2 tasks for you. 1, it'll let you know whether you're looking at AM, PM, and 2, it gives you a chance to get out of the danger zone. You never want to use the quick set for the date during the period of 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. This is the quick change. The quick change is the position between winding and setting. Note the watch is running. It's in operation, but as I turn the crown in a counterclockwise direction, I rapidly cycle the date. Now this is great, but you can't use it between the hours of 8 p.m. and 3 a.m., as that's the period during which the watch is automatically engaged in jumping the date. It takes a few hours to perform this energy-intensive jump, so it takes a few hours, and those are the hours during which you should not use the quick set date. If you wish to change the date during this period, I recommend you manually roll the hour hand through the date change at midnight. Remember, counterclockwise in the intermediate position to use that quick set function. You pull the crown out all the way to a stop, 2 detents from flush, that is 2 detents from winding. Now we're in stop seconds or setting mode. We turn through the date change, so we know right now, for example, we're looking at 4:30 a.m. Okay, so I'm going to set the watch against an online reference time, such as an atomic clock that is set precisely to my time zone. Atomic clocks, generally maintained by laboratories or governments, are quite accurate. What you want to do is set the correct hour. Let's say where I am, it is 4:35 in the morning. I'm going to set the correct hour, stop that seconds hand at 12 o'clock, and then I'm going to set my minute hand to the next nearest minute. I do this because I'm going to wait for the reference time to catch up, so it's indicating the exact same hour, minute, and second that I see on the dial on my watch. As soon as they coincide, you push that crown back down, you resume the advance of the governing wheel. It's not a balance, but it's a governing wheel with the spring drive system. Now the watch is synchronized to the reference, and this is a good time to screw that crown back down. Always screw the crown back down after using it for 2 reasons. First, it has a small countersunk profile. It's slightly countersunk with a little bit of a revetment between the flanks of the case, and that prevents shearing and damage. It also helps the watch to achieve its maximum rated water resistance of 100 meters. And therein lies the first of our 3 areas of hazard. There are 3 areas of hazard to keep in mind: water, magnetism, and shock. Let's talk about water first. This watch is water resistant to 100 meters. You can see it will always be engraved on the back of your Grand Seiko timepiece. If it says water resistant, that means 30 meters water resistant. The more water resistant sports style watches and screw down crown cases like this will generally be 10 bar or more. This is 10 bar, that's 100 meters. That is sufficient for aquatic activities such as swimming. Not for high diving, not for anything that involves deep diving with rebreather apparatus, but this is an aquatic watch. You can help to avoid accidental drowning by keeping the crown threaded in all the way, not just while the watch is submerged, that goes without saying, but consider a wet watch to be the same as a submerged watch. For practical purposes, using the crown while there's water on the case can bypass the seals. Then you have water inside the movement, you have water inside the dial, expensive consequences result. So avoid accidental drowning, keep that crown screwed down. Also, keep in mind that over time, as lubricants age and seals degrade, your watch will not have the same water resistance as when it left the factory. Therefore, Grand Seiko recommends, on an annual basis, having your watch water tested using a dry water test that is free of charge at a Grand Seiko authorized dealer or service center, and they'll check to make sure that your watch is still 10-bar water resistant. This is also a good time to have total condition, chronometric performance, as well as water resistance checked to see if a full service might be necessary. Because spring drive involves a number of sensitive electromechanical interactions and mechanisms, it's important to keep your watch remote from powerful magnets, such as those in the closures of refrigerator doors, wallets, and purses, as well as powerful static magnets in speakers, subwoofers, even the speakers embedded in the keyboard of your laptop. You might not think those are powerful, but they are in fact. Also, keep your watch remote from powerful electromagnets such as laptops, personal devices, high-powered wiring harnesses or wiring looms that you might encounter in the office or the workplace. And keep the watch remote from concussive activities. At a minimum, a concussion or shock might cause your watch to run without precision. Maximally, concussion and shock might damage the watch, the case, the seals, the movement, cracking or fracturing sapphires, so keep your watch disused during concussive sports such as batting, tennis, or golf, and disuse your watch during firearms marksmanship or the riding of ATVs or mountain bikes. Finally, keep in mind that every fine timepiece, whether quartz, spring drive, or mechanical, will require a periodic comprehensive service per Grand Seiko every 3 years or so. During your annual water test, have the total condition and performance of your watch checked. Should a full service be necessary, perform exclusively with the factory itself or authorized service centers, as these agencies solely have the trained personnel, specialized tools, and original Grand Seiko factory replacement parts to protect the value of your watch as both instrument and as investment. Moreover, only these agencies are able to back all labor and parts invested with an original Grand Seiko factory service warranty. Ultimately, you can visit our website at govbergwatches.com and call, text, or email our experts who will be happy to walk you through every phase of the usage and care of this or any Grand Seiko fine timepiece.